All right, of course, we still have Chris Wandu here in the studios with us to help us make sense of this. And of course, we are going to be bringing a lawmaker representing Jagba Federal Constituency, Kogi State, Sunday Karimi, joining us in our Boja studio to talk more about this. Let's start with you here in the studio, Chris. Well, does it surprise you that this sort of controversy is starting to trail this executive order?
It's not surprising. It's expected. Especially the legislative arm, whenever issues relating to their functions is seemingly stamped upon, there's always the tendency for them to shut out
to resist
it and rest of them. But I expected that there should have been some level of consultation because for goodness sake, for us to be able to get it right, there must be some level of synergy between the judiciary, legislature, and executive. Government is not only about executive. Consultation must be made, and more so in a party. That is also where the party plays a lot of role. I expected that there's only one ruling party, which is the APC. If the executive is coming up, they have the majority in the Senate, they have the majority in the House of Reps, and I believe that if such is coming up, leadership of the legislative body should have been put in the known, and a position should have been taken. I'm not a lawyer, but I know that the president has the right on statutory. In fact, somebody was telling me about 2-3 days ago, I think it was Bashorun Dele Momodu, when we were having a discussion, he said, CKN, do you know that Nigeria's president is the most powerful president in the world? And it's a fact, because there are a lot of things that our executive or president can do and get away with here, and they can't do it in other climes. So the controversy truly that I'm not surprised. But we should also look at it from the point that also in other climes there have been instances. Look at what is happening in the United States. Donald Trump woke up one day and said, I don't want so people to come into the country. It was an executive, and they signed up on it. And he mentioned the country. Some people went to court, and at least eventually got to the Supreme Court, and they won. And just recently, you saw what he's doing with the kids and the...
Exactly.
So
okay, let's bring in a House of Rep member from Yagba constituency in Kogi, Honorable Sunday Karimi. Good morning. It's good to have you join us. Now, this is not the first executive order the president is signing. Executive Order 6 of 2018, make us understand what is controversial about it. Why are people not comfortable with it? Why is the House of Rep not comfortable with it? Why are Nigerians reacting to it? Just give us a basis to understand what the executive order is.
In the first place, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. What the president tried to do with the executive order is to take over the function of lawmakers and the function of the judiciary. In the first place, Section 5 of the Constitution is very specific. Let me just take you back to Section 5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It says that subject to the provision of the Constitution, executive powers of the Federation is vested on the President, but subject to the provisions of laws enacted by the National Assembly. So the President cannot on his own add to the law enacted by the National Assembly or take away from it. What the president tried to do with most of the executive orders, especially this one, is to make law on his own and to execute the law. That is why we have separation of powers. What he is trying to do with the executive order number 6 is to have the power to confiscate anybody that is under investigation, to confiscate the properties of such individuals. And it's only the court that has such powers. It's only the court that can give you directive to take over somebody's property, but the executive want to have that power to itself. And that is what we are trying to stop.
All right, Honorable
Sunday. We are not against fighting corruption.
All right, Honorable Sunday. Well, if you say that the president, through signing of the order, tried to usurp the legislative powers, you must understand that the president has advisors, judicial advisors, who he must have consulted before signing the executive order, just to ensure that everything is in place before signing it. So, why do you think so? Do you think that he did not have the right to do so? Do you also think that he did not consult his judicial advisors?
What I've said is that he has no power based on the Constitution to do so. And if he's been advised by his Attorney General, we are saying that that advice is wrong, and that is why we have called the Attorney General to appear before us to defend that executive order. Anyway, that executive order, as of today, has no place, and it will not be allowed to operate in our judiciary system.
Okay, Chris, let me come to you on this. Does it feel like the president doesn't either have satisfaction in the agencies or in the laws that exist to fight corruption, or he doesn't have trust for them that warrants the establishment of this order number 6 on confiscating suspicious assets?
Probably his thinking is that the anti-corruption crusade is not moving at the speed at which he expected. And also, you know, one of the cardinal points of his campaign was corruption. In fact, everything about Buhari, I would say 95% is corruption, 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 and everywhere he goes. So, and he just feels that he's having some level of impediment in the areas judicial rulings. You know, we were talking about it earlier on. And he felt that probably there's a window of opportunity where he can be able to see and maneuver and be able to get something.
Recall that sometime he said the judiciary was frustrating in the fight against corruption.
Exactly. Constitutionally, as I said, I do know whether he has the right. The House member just said that he doesn't. In the course of, we cannot be creating problem in order to solve problems. Okay, if just by mere investigation you think you can confiscate the buildings or properties of individuals allegedly, because the president cannot give a pronouncement on that. EFC cannot even give a pronouncement. ICPC cannot even give a pronouncement. It's only a court of competent jurisdiction that can be able to say, fine, this is this and this, and place a judgment. And when judgment, look at what is happening. Even for goodness sake, I was just reading just this morning. AMCON, over how many? Over 183 billion properties that were seized by AMCON.
Exactly. Nobody's coming for them.
You understand what I'm trying to say? Because people are wary. If they have such property and the AMCON say come and buy, and people are worried, they say no, I don't trust you people. I don't even trust. You know that it gives. So I think that, as I rightly said, that there should be more consultation within the House of Representatives and even Senate. They have committees on judiciary. Okay, they have issues of that. That is why I said the president and his handlers would have had a sit-down with the members of the national, or even the judiciary, because what you are doing is encroaching in their own part of this, both the legislature and so there should have been a forum to be able to debate that and look at key areas. And the AGF is there, who is supposed to be the #1 law officer in a country, and I wouldn't know. He would have given the president the best of options, that advice, and say let's go ahead with this and the rest of them. Then my challenge here, when the House of Reps member from Yagba is saying that no, that the law is null and void, and the rest of them, I think it might take the joint session of the Senate and House of Reps to be able to agree on that. Okay, but there should be a hearing. If they are not satisfied, all they need to do is the president can be summoned It's only in this country that we think that nobody, the National Assembly can summon anybody, including the president, the vice president. It's only here that we believe they are demigod. They can be summoned. If you are not satisfied with order, or certain officers working with the president can be summoned. Don't forget also the vice president is the senior advocate of Nigeria. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Professor of law.
Professor of law.
So that's why I asked the question. Yes. The president has legal minders around him. So there must have been, consultation.
Some level of consultation. Yes.
Senator Osai, who moved to demotion, posited that, of course, this is a replication of extant laws already that we have, and also that it's a replication of Decree 2 of 1984 that would give the president the window to pursue opponents, seeming, opponents of
perceived.
Yes. You think that's what it is really?
It's possible. Everything about Nigeria is politics. Okay. Even presently, you could say that despite the anti-corruption war and whatever success the present government is saying that there have been hues and cries that this anti-corruption war is targeted at opponents or those in the opposition. It's just of recent that we've seen one or two people from the opposition being picked up as governors and but that is the perception. Even within the government itself, we've had people that people perceive to be corrupt and nothing has been done to them. So I think that people are just afraid that this will be used to be able to hunt down certain opponents of the government or those in opposition. More so, since we're moving towards 2019, okay, politicians can do anything. They can label anything on you just to make you look so sellable or whatever, and before you know it, you just realize they are having problems. So the president, I think this should be what they need to, instead of the legislators shouting, and what they need to do is take it to the judiciary. They should go to court. Okay, take this issue to court. Let the court decide on it. If the court decide on it, if the president, if they are not satisfied, they go to the court of appeal. If they are not satisfied, let them go to the judiciary. Should be the last place to go.
Okay, all right. Let's bring in back Sunday Karimi in here. Now, make us understand. We often say that Nigeria doesn't lack laws. In fact, there are a plethora of laws concerning every facet of life. But what is the place of executive orders where we have laws in the Constitution, laws in all of, in fact, every aspect of our life? But what is really the importance or the use or the instrumentality of the executive orders?
Okay. Like I pointed out to you in Section 5 of the Constitution, when National Assembly makes law, and the executive in trying to implement this law, they can make residual regulations so that these laws can be effectively carried out. That can be in form of executive orders. But such regulation must be in line with the laws enacted by the National Assembly. You cannot recreate a law or add to it outside the Constitution. So, fighting corruption, we have the EFCC Act, we have the ICPC Act, we have the Code of Conduct Bureau. Look at the recent NFIU Act signed into law. If all this will not be enough for the president, you still want to go back to decree. You know, just like my colleague called it, Osai, that is a decree. That is going back to Decree 2. I will call that Decree 6. So if all the regulations we have, well, all the laws we have, with all these acts of the National Assembly, that is not enough for you to fight corruption. You want to have power to be able to take over somebody's properties while a case is still in court. That is not right. That is not constitutional. And we us, as elected individuals, sign to an oath to obey the law of the land, to act according to the Constitution. When we see the president violating the Constitution, it is our responsibility to put him right.
All right, Honorable Sunday, You are asking the president to suspend the executive order 006. In the case that he does not suspend it, what is your next line of action?
When we get to the bridge, we will cross it. The Constitution is very clear. I'm talking of on our powers to put the president right. And if it gets to exercising that power, we will not run away from it.
Okay, let me stay with you when you talking about getting to the bridge and crossing it. Now, but before we get to that bridge and think of crossing it, let us create mind scenarios here. What kind of scenario can play out? Like my colleague Ike just asked, what can likely happen if the president wants the executive order to stay or to be maintained? What can likely play out? Make us understand. Give us an idea.
You know, now we invited the Attorney General of the Federation to appear before us to defend the executive order. That is one of the bridges we need to cross. And we have stated it clearly that they need to suspend it. If they refuse to suspend it, we know some Nigerians, they've taken it upon themselves to challenge the executive order in court. I'm sure the court will make a pronouncement on that. But if the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria continue to violate the Constitution, that is, the remedy is spelled out in our Constitution.
All right.
And we will not hesitate to do that.
All right, Honorable Sunday, let's talk to Chris here in the studio. Now, just as he has posited that, of course, when they get to the bridge, they will cross it, and they have invited the Attorney General of the Federation to come and defend that position. Do you think, having seen the trend where they put invitations out to government, top government functionaries. Of course, it happened with the police, IG, who did not turn up. Do you think that the AGF will also turn up?
They should be able to turn up. I said it in my remark. There's nobody that is above the law. In true practice, anybody can be invited. It's only in this country that we take laws into our hands, and a public officer is invited, and they refuse to. And funny enough, the most annoying part of it.
But they do have the right to invite.
Yes, that's where I'm going to. Funny enough, most of these public officers, when they are appointed, they are screened by the National Assembly, and they get there and they become think gods. You invite them, they refuse. There have been so many instances. The GMD of NMPs have been invited several times. They refuse to. IGP was invited at a point. Some ministers were invited, and the rest of them, and the rest of them. I think the problem we're also having is the legislature itself. I don't think they are asserting their powers as much as they should. If they at times, don't blame them, because
in asserting their powers, what do you expect to be done in asserting? It happened with the IGP. It happened with the Minister of Mineral Resources. Yes, EFCC chairman. In such circumstances, what would you have expected them to do?
He stated it here that they have powers. There are certain powers they have, they can use.
But they've not been able to wield it.
That is what I'm saying. They've not been able to wield it. It's not for me to tell them what they know. They know the powers they have all over the world. They know. In the United States, during the crisis and the crisis and the rest of them, Hillary Clinton was invited. Okay, recently, even in the United States Assembly invited the founder of Facebook. As much as big as it was, there's nobody. As I said, there's nobody. The problem we have is that people try to play politics Okay, until the National Assembly or the legislature come together and see themselves as one, and not just PDP and APC. Look at the motion that was moved. You could see there was a divide between those in opposition and those support. It's always going against each other. If they can come together and see themselves as, immediately you are elected as a member of the House, you no longer see yourself as an APC or PDP member. It is a collective responsibility for you. Because for you to be able to function effectively, to be able to come together, make sure that whatever you are pushing out, your order stays and respected. That is how the executive will take you seriously.
Okay.
That's it. So, and they know what to do, and they should be able to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Chris Kende-Nwandu, CEO of CKN News. Thanks so much.
Thank you very
much. And we thank you, Honorable Sunday Karimi, House of Reps member representing Yagba constituency of Kogi State. Thank you for talking to us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.